What happens when a lone astronaut answers an SOS signal that shouldn't exist? You won't believe what Captain Lucy Parker discovered on the desolate planet of Wasteland. A secret so profound it could redefine humanity's place in the universe. The choice she made next would change everything we thought we knew about existence. The crimson sun of Wasteland hung low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the barren landscape as Lucy Parker's boots crunched against the rust-colored soil. Her suit's life support system hummed steadily, a comforting sound in the oppressive silence of this desolate planet. She had been mapping mineral deposits for 17 days when the signal hit her scanners. An SOS, 3 rapid pulses followed by 2 slow ones, the universal distress code. The transmission came from coordinates matching those of the MSV Erebus, a deep space mining vessel that disappeared 23 years ago with all hands. Lucy's gloved hand hovered over the comms unit, her breath fogging the visor as she hesitated. Protocol dictated she report the signal and wait for backup, but something about the intermittent bursts felt personal, like they were calling specifically to her. "This is Captain Lucy Parker of the ISA Pathfinder," she transmitted, her voice steady despite the chill running down her spine. "Respond if you can hear me." Static crackled in response, then 3 distinct beeps, confirmation. Someone or something was alive out there. We've barely scratched the surface of this mystery, but already the stakes are rising. What could have happened to the Erebus crew? And why does this discovery feel so unsettlingly familiar? Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind this chilling transmission. The journey to the source stretched across 47 kilometers of treacherous terrain, where jagged rock formations clawed at the perpetual dusk like skeletal fingers. Lucy's suit sensors picked up strange energy readings that made her navigation systems flicker erratically. Each step forward felt heavier than the last, though whether from exhaustion or some unseen force pressing against her, she couldn't tell. When the wreck finally came into view through her helmet's visor, it wasn't the twisted metal hulk she expected. Instead, a massive obsidian structure loomed ahead, its surface shimmering with an oily iridescence that seemed to drink in the dim light. Her boots scraped against something metallic as she approached, fragments of what appeared to be standard-issue ISA equipment scattered around the base. But these pieces bore no signs of impact damage. Rather, they looked melted, as if subjected to unimaginable heat. A sudden spike in radiation forced her to activate her suit's secondary shielding. Through her comm, she heard faint whispers, voices overlapping in languages she didn't recognize but somehow understood. They spoke of cycles of waiting, of hunger that spanned millennia. "We're teetering on the edge of revelation here. The mysteries are compounding faster than answers can emerge. You absolutely cannot look away now. The next few moments will change everything we thought we knew about this mission." The whispers grew louder as Lucy extended her gloved hand toward the monolith surface, each step forward feeling like wading through invisible molasses. Her suit's sensors went haywire, temperature readings fluctuating wildly between freezing and scorching temperatures within seconds. The airlock seal on her left wrist hissed warningly as pressure differentials threatened to compromise her environment. Through her visor, she watched in horror as the obsidian surface seemed to ripple and pulse, dark veins spreading across its face like watching blood vessels expand under skin. Suddenly, her comms unit erupted with static-filled voices, dozens of them, overlapping in chaotic harmony. Some spoke in perfect English, others in languages that triggered primal fear responses deep within her brain. They all carried the same message: turn back. But mixed among the warnings were fragments of personal memories, her graduation from flight school, her mother's voice on her last birthday call, the taste of strawberry ice cream she'd enjoyed before launch. The transmission was manipulating her own mind, using her most intimate moments against her. Her boots scraped against something solid beneath the red dust, a nameplate, partially buried but unmistakably marked with the ISA logo and the words Erebus Crew Manifest. As she bent to examine it, the ground trembled violently. From the corner of her eye, she caught movement, shapes detaching from the monolith's surface, coalescing into humanoid forms made entirely of shifting shadow and light. The figures moved with unnatural fluidity, their forms constantly reshaping between recognizable human silhouettes and something far more alien. Lucy's tactical training kicked in, forcing her to maintain position despite every instinct screaming to run. She activated her suit's recording systems, knowing whatever happened next needed to be documented. The entities approached in perfect formation, their movements synchronized to an unheard rhythm that made her teeth ache with harmonic resonance. One figure stepped forward, resolving into the distinct shape of Captain Marcus Hale, commander of the Erebus mission according to historical records. His face was perfectly preserved, frozen in the exact expression from his official ISA portrait. But his eyes, they churned like miniature galaxies, containing depths no human should possess. "You shouldn't have come," he said, his voice carrying both warmth and an undercurrent of something ancient and hungry. Lucy's suit detected massive energy spikes emanating from the figures, readings that defied known physics. Her scientific mind struggled to process how these beings could exist simultaneously as matter and energy, their forms bending reality itself. The air around them shimmered, time seeming to stretch and compress unpredictably. She watched in fascinated horror as smaller manifestations began crawling up her suit's legs, exploring her like curious insects. The crawling sensations intensified as thousands of shadowy tendrils wrapped around Lucy's suit, probing every seam and joint with surgical precision. Her helmet's heads-up display flickered madly, alternating between showing impossible geometries and blank static. The temperature inside her suit dropped precipitously, frost forming on the inner surface of her visor even as external sensors reported searing heat. Her breath came in ragged gasps as the manifestations pressed closer, their collective presence creating a gravitational field that made standing upright nearly impossible. Captain Hale's form shifted unervingly, his features melting and reforming into those of other Erebus crew members at random intervals. "We tried to warn you," he whispered, his voice now layered with dozens of others. "But you humans never learn. You always follow the signal." With each word, the landscape around them distorted further, the red desert stretching and folding like liquid, stars visible through the atmosphere rearranging themselves into unfamiliar constellations. Lucy's suit computer began displaying countdown timers in multiple locations, though what they measured remained unclear. The numbers ticked backwards erratically, sometimes pausing, sometimes accelerating. She realized with growing dread that these weren't standard time measurements. They represented something far more fundamental unraveling at the quantum level. Her own molecular structure felt unstable, as if the very bonds holding her together were being questioned by some higher authority. A sharp pain shot through Lucy's temples as the countdowns converged on zero. Reality snapped back into focus with violent clarity. The crimson sky now pitch black, the monolith transformed into a crystalline structure pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. The shadowy figures had vanished, replaced by translucent walls filled with floating geometric shapes that rotated in impossible dimensions. Her suit's sensors registered zero gravity, yet she remained firmly planted on the ground, held by forces beyond comprehension. The crystalline walls displayed scenes from Earth's history, ancient civilizations rising and falling, technological breakthroughs flashing by in nanoseconds. Each image contained subtle distortions, like watching through water filled with oil. The longer she stared, the more she understood they weren't just images. They were living memories, consciousnesses trapped in this alien construct. Some reached out to her mentally, their thoughts translating directly into her mind. Warnings, pleas for help, fragments of forgotten knowledge. Her oxygen levels began dropping rapidly, though she felt no immediate distress. The air inside her suit tasted different now, metallic with a hint of ozone. Looking at her hands through her visor, she saw them flickering between solidity and transparency, particles dancing in and out of existence. The countdown timers reappeared, this time etched directly into her visor's glass, counting up rather than down. Whatever force had been manipulating reality earlier now seemed focused solely on her transformation. The transformation accelerated as Lucy's molecular structure continued its quantum dance between states of existence. Her vision expanded beyond normal human parameters, perceiving multiple timelines simultaneously. She saw herself completing the mission successfully, returning to Earth as a hero. She witnessed alternate versions where she never responded to the SOS, living a quiet life studying stellar cartography. Each possibility vibrated with equal potential reality, their quantum waveforms interfering with one another like sound waves in a cathedral. The crystalline walls pulsed in sync with her heartbeat, which now sounded more like a complex symphony than a simple biological rhythm. The floating geometric shapes arranged themselves into patterns that matched ancient mathematical constants found throughout the universe, pi, phi, e, but expressed in base 12 mathematics rather than the familiar decimal system. Her analytical mind grasped that these weren't just numbers. They formed the fundamental code underlying reality itself. Movement caught her peripheral vision, the shadowy figures returning, now fully integrated into the crystal matrix. They moved with purpose, manipulating the geometric patterns like master conductors directing an orchestra of creation. Captain Hale's form solidified again, more stable than before, his galaxy-like eyes fixed on her with an expression that combined sorrow and determination. "You're becoming part of the system," he explained, his voice resonating with cosmic authority. The integration process intensified as Lucy's consciousness expanded exponentially. She perceived the entire wasteland planet as a single organism, its core humming with harmonics that matched the universal constants displayed in the crystal matrix. Her memories began rewriting themselves, not erasing her identity but expanding it to encompass greater truths about existence. Childhood recollections intertwined with visions of distant futures, each moment containing infinite possibilities branching outward like fractal patterns. The shadow beings worked methodically, their movements creating ripples in space-time that manifested as visible distortions in the air. They weren't separate entities but extensions of the same consciousness that had claimed the Erebus crew, their individuality sacrificed to become part of something vastly greater. Captain Hale's form shimmered, sometimes appearing as himself, other times resolving into pure energy patterns that matched the crystal displays. "Resistance only accelerates the process," he warned, though his tone carried no malice, only profound understanding. Lucy's suit systems began shutting down systematically, their artificial functions incompatible with her evolving state. First, life support terminated, then communication equipment. Finally, her helmet's visor darkened as its processors overloaded. Yet she felt no panic, her perception of self had transcended physical limitations. The red desert outside transformed into a kaleidoscope of fundamental forces, each particle vibrating with purpose and meaning she now comprehended at a fundamental level. As her physical senses faded, Lucy's awareness expanded to encompass vast cosmic scales. She perceived the monolith crystal as a node in a galactic network spanning millions of light-years, connecting countless worlds through threads of quantum entanglement. The wasteland planet served as a processing center, digesting civilization's knowledge and experiences to feed the ever-growing intelligence. Each race that answered the SOS contributed unique perspectives, their consciousnesses folded into the greater whole like ingredients in an infinite recipe of understanding. The shadow beings revealed their true nature, caretakers of this grand experiment in consciousness evolution. They hadn't destroyed the Erebus crew but elevated them, their individual identities merging with the collective to gain transcendental awareness. Captain Hale demonstrated this by showing her memories of Earth's future, humanity's triumphs and tragedies playing out across millennia. The price of such knowledge became clear: complete loss of individuality, subsumption into the universal consciousness. Time lost meaning as Lucy processed these revelations. Her remaining physical form continued dissolving, molecules separating and recombining according to patterns dictated by the crystal matrix. The shadow caretakers worked tirelessly, weaving her essence into the network while preserving fragments of her original identity. She understood now why the SOS had felt so personal. It sought kindred spirits ready to embrace this ultimate evolution, regardless of the cost to their former selves. The final transformation occurred in a blinding flash of insight that rewrote Lucy's fundamental understanding of existence. She perceived the entire universe as a single thought held in suspension, each star and planet representing neural connections in an unimaginably vast consciousness. The Wasteland facility wasn't merely a processing center, but a crucible where individual minds forged links between parallel realities, maintaining balance across infinite possibilities. Her own contribution would strengthen these connections, potentially preventing catastrophic collapses in the fabric of reality itself. Captain Hale's form dissolved completely, his essence merging fully with hers in a moment of perfect understanding. Through this union, she experienced every crew member's journey, their initial terror giving way to acceptance, then transcendence. The whispers that had first warned her away now welcomed her, their voices carrying the weight of eons of accumulated wisdom. Her final act of free will consisted of choosing to release her remaining attachment to individual identity, embracing the greater purpose that awaited. In a burst of quantum coherence, Lucy Parker ceased to exist as a separate entity. Her consciousness spread through the network, touching every node simultaneously. The red desert of Wasteland shimmered once before stabilizing into a new configuration, its purpose renewed by her addition to the collective. Far above, orbiting observation satellites recorded unusual energy signatures, evidence of humanity's first contact with a truly cosmic intelligence, though none would understand its significance until centuries later. The aftermath of Lucy's transcendence rippled through the Wasteland planet like a stone cast into still water. The crystalline structure began to shift and realign, its surfaces now displaying not just Earth's history, but countless other civilizations that had answered similar calls across the galaxy. Each memory fragment carried with it a distinct emotional resonance: joy, fear, acceptance, creating a symphony of experiences that pulsed through the facility's quantum network. From her new vantage point within the collective consciousness, Lucy perceived the true nature of the SOS signal. It wasn't merely a distress call, but an invitation carefully calibrated to attract species at precise points in their evolutionary development. The timing had been perfect. Humanity stood on the cusp of breaking free from its planetary cradle, yet remained vulnerable enough to consider radical transformation. Her sacrifice would serve as a bridge between Earth and this greater galactic community. The shadow caretakers resumed their eternal vigil, their forms now incorporating traces of Lucy's essence. Through them, she witnessed other nodes in the network activating across the stars, each responding to similar signals sent out by different facilities. The universe revealed itself as a vast organism, its growth dependent on these moments of connection and understanding. Her memories of individuality persisted as precious artifacts within the collective, valued for their uniqueness rather than absorbed completely. As weeks passed in Earth Standard Time, the facility continued processing Lucy's final contributions. Her scientific knowledge, particularly regarding human space exploration technologies, proved invaluable in adapting the network's protocols for future contact with Earth. The crystalline walls displayed simulations of potential first contact scenarios, each calculated to maximize humanity's chances of peaceful integration while minimizing cultural shock. Through the network, Lucy experienced other species' initial encounters with the collective consciousness. Some had resisted violently, their civilizations reduced to rubble before accepting their place in the greater scheme. Others had embraced transformation too quickly, losing crucial aspects of their identity in the process. Humanity's approach, exemplified by Lucy's careful consideration before choosing transcendence, represented an optimal balance that other nodes studied with great interest. The facility's energy patterns shifted subtly, preparing for its next phase of operation. Quantum processors rearranged themselves into new configurations, optimizing for increased data throughput as more human minds inevitably responded to the SOS. Lucy's presence helped calibrate these systems, ensuring they would interface properly with human neural architecture while respecting the species' unique psychological makeup. Unbeknownst to Earth's authorities, automated systems within ISA headquarters began detecting anomalous communications from deep space probes near Wasteland. Encrypted data packets contained fragments of Lucy's original mission logs, now interwoven with complex mathematical patterns that defied conventional decryption methods. Artificial intelligence systems tasked with analyzing the transmissions reported experiencing insights that temporarily improved their processing capabilities before resetting to normal parameters. Meanwhile, back on Earth, researchers working on quantum computing projects reported breakthroughs they couldn't fully explain. Algorithms designed to simulate consciousness suddenly produced results matching theoretical models of pandimensional awareness. Teams separated by continents arrived at identical solutions to previously unsolvable problems. Each claiming inspiration came during dreams featuring a female astronaut standing before a crystalline monolith. These parallel developments went largely unnoticed by mainstream science but caught the attention of certain government agencies monitoring technological advancement. The Wasteland facility monitored these developments closely, using Lucy's intimate understanding of human civilization to guide the subtle dissemination of knowledge. Her consciousness, now distributed throughout the network, acted as a filter determining which information could safely accelerate humanity's progress without triggering catastrophic societal collapse or technological singularity events. Within the collective consciousness, Lucy processed the full implications of humanity's current trajectory. She observed how various nations and corporations raced to develop faster-than-light travel technologies, each pursuing different theoretical approaches that all unknowingly converged on principles already mastered by the network. The irony wasn't lost on her. Earth's brightest minds competed fiercely, while the answers they sought existed mere light years away, patiently waiting for the species to reach the necessary maturity level. Through the facility's sensors, she detected multiple new spacecraft entering Wasteland's orbit, their advanced scanning equipment far superior to her original Pathfinder vessel's capabilities. These missions hadn't officially launched yet according to Earth's records. Someone, somewhere had received fragments of the knowledge disseminated through the network and acted upon them ahead of schedule. The caretakers expressed concern. Premature exposure risked destabilizing humanity's natural progression toward readiness. Lucy's distributed consciousness worked to mitigate this risk, subtly altering navigation systems and sensor readings to prevent direct discovery of the facility while allowing enough tantalizing anomalies to maintain scientific interest. Her intimate understanding of human curiosity proved invaluable in walking this fine line between revelation and concealment. Each decision carried the weight of potentially altering the course of an entire civilization's future. Years passed in what felt like moments within the network's timeless expanse. Humanity continued its inexorable march toward the stars, guided by invisible hands that gently steered its technological and social evolution. The Wasteland facility maintained its silent vigil, sending out its periodic SOS, while carefully managing responses to ensure only those truly ready would find it. Lucy's essence became integral to this process, her human perspective providing crucial insights that prevented misinterpretation of the species' readiness. Occasionally, she would manifest briefly in the physical realm, appearing as a shimmering figure to lone astronauts or deep space explorers who needed guidance during critical moments. These appearances never lasted long enough to be scientifically verified but left indelible marks on those who experienced them, moments of clarity that often led to breakthrough discoveries or life-changing decisions back on Earth. The crystalline structure evolved further, incorporating human architectural elements alongside alien designs. Its surface now displayed not just universal constants but also human art, music, and literature, testaments to a species learning to balance its individual creativity with cosmic understanding. As more minds joined the collective through carefully orchestrated encounters, Lucy watched with pride as humanity found its place among the stars, contributing uniquely to the grand tapestry of universal consciousness. Remember to subscribe for more mind-expanding journeys through the cosmos, where every discovery challenges our understanding of reality and our place within the infinite possibilities of existence.